Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Aguttes auctions based in France, and we're just going to have a look at a lone instrument today. I've been looking at kind of various auction houses recently, and I found this lone instrument inside a sale of kind of classical antiques and things like that, and I thought it'd be quite interesting to have a look at it. This particular auction is finishing on the 9th of December. I'll put a link in the description. It's interesting because if you've seen any of my recent videos, you'll see that there was also a bass viol for sale by Aguttes, also coming to auction on the 9th of December, but a different auction to this. This is an auction later in the day to the bass viol, so that's a bit curious. But anyhow, I thought it was worth kind of having a look at this. So this is an 18th century guitar by Jacques-Philippe Michelot. He was around between 1734 and 1814. What's interesting about this instrument is it seems to have originally had 8 strings, so it was a 4-course guitar, I presume, so kind of double strung there, but it's been converted to be a kind of more modern 6-string guitar. So this particular guitar, the estimate is 60 to 80,000 euros. I think it has some French royal connections, hence the name. So it's saying it's a Trianon guitar called en bateau, or en bateau, and that means basically on a boat, and I think that's kind of relating to the way that the sides of this instrument are sloped. We'll have a look at that in a minute after we read the description. I believe that this is called a Trianon guitar because the Trianon is a part of the Palace of Versailles, or kind of a few buildings or a piece of ground or some area in the Palace of Versailles. So there's some royal connections when we look into the provenance. But if there are any historians out there that know a kind of better reason for that, please do let me know why it's called a Trianon guitar. I'm probably a bit ignorant to it. But anyhow, a Trianon guitar, rare guitar called en bateau, the body in fruitwood decorated with ivory and ebony fillets, the table in spruce of a beautiful tight grain, Parisian pistachios, and a remarkable open work ivory rosette representing 2 doves embracing on a temple of love. Paris by Jacques-Philippe Michelot, like I said, 1734 to 1814, late 18th century. They're saying this guitar circa 1775. The case is 44 centimeters, string length 64 centimeters. Remarkable freshness, instrument reassembled in 6 strings, probably around 1810. Minor accidents, so it has some little bits of repairs and things. So if we kind of have a look to it in a bit more detail, we can see that there's kind of pegs holes for 8 strings, but we're currently set up for 6. Now I'm assuming that this instrument was originally kind of set up as a 4-course guitar, so 2 strings together for each kind of tuning, for each kind of note, but I could be wrong, so if anyone has any other information on that, please do share. As you can see, like, quite incredible kind of work here, lots of ivory inlays. Look at that kind of interesting carved rosette, really beautiful bridge detailing there, so a very fine instrument. You can see here at the back, like, the incredible workmanship. You can see here that the sides are kind of sloped from the top down to the back, which is why I think it's got this name en bateau. Obviously incredible detailing, incredible workmanship on this instrument, so really beautiful. Let's see what other pictures we have here. There's some close up on the detailing here. Really, it's quite extravagant work. Another bit on the side, you can really see the sloping sides here, so a very kind of interesting instrument there. Very, like, even here on the heel, kind of detailing there, beautiful rosette. Interesting, it's kind of strung with looks like gut strings, and perhaps these are kind of silver wound gut also. That's interesting setup. Another kind of slight view, you can see the 8 pegs were. That's quite interesting. Beautiful design. Lovely view there of the side. Yeah, you can really see the kind of sloping of it, so it does look a bit like a boat, so that does make sense. And then we're back to the we've got two views of the front there, slightly different. That one's a bit more interesting in colour, almost looks slightly different there, quite misleading. In any case, so yeah, here we have a rare guitar with some French royal family connections there. So if we just read the provenance here, presumed gift from the Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, to the Marquis de la Rochellambert Thevales, 1758 to 1835. Marquise de la Rochambert Thevales, born Louise Elizabeth de Lostanges, 1758 to 1835, lady in waiting of Madame Adelaide of France, intimate of the Queen, passed by inheritance to her nephew Henri, Marquis de la Rochambert, 1789 to 1863, passed by inheritance and preserved to this day by descendants, although to date there is no document that formally attests that this guitar was a gift from the Queen, Marie Antoinette. This family information can be considered indeed. Patrick Barbier, a music historian, reports in his book Marie Antoinette de la Musique that Marie Antoinette used to buy numerous musical instruments without any invoice, and that she willingly gave them to her immediate circle. Considering the documented proximity of Queen Marie Antoinette and the Marquis de la Rochellambert, this is quite likely. The Marquis de la Rochellambert Thevales is an emblematic figure of the Minister of Trianon and the Royal Court of Versailles in the late 18th century. So I presume that's the reason for the Trianon name. Born Louise Elizabeth de Lostanges, she was baptized in Versailles on August 11, 1759. Her godfather being none other than Louis de Bourbon, Dauphin of France, father of King Louis, and her godmother Louise Elizabeth de Bourbon, known as Madame de France, daughter of Louis. Her parents were familiar with the court at Versailles. On December 1st, 1778, she married Francois Marquis de la Rochambert Thevales and was immediately presented officially to the French court as Marquis de la Rochambert Thevales, Marquis de France, December 1778. Thus, on September the 9th of the following year, she was admitted to the honours of the court and presented to the king. On the 9th, the Marquis de la Rochambert Thevales and the honour of being presented to the king and queen by Madame Adelaide de France in the capacity of lady to accompany this princess. Journal Politique or Gazette des Gazettes, 1779, a quality she retained until 1792. Almanac de la Cour, 2nd edition, par William Ritchie Newton, 2020. Her contemporaries underlined her very beautiful voice and judged her to be a good musician. She was part of the circle of the Queen Marie Antoinette, even playing at her side the role of Columbine. December 1781, she played with Madame Elizabeth in Chantilly, La Vie de Madame Elizabeth, Soeur de Louis. 1869. She arrived on December 6, 1781 in Chantilly and played Eleanor in Le Mont Jaloux. It is said that she plays and sings like an angel. Letter from the Marquis de la Bombelles. An anecdote during the visit of Gustav III to France in 1784 underlines this. This monarch was invited to a court given in his honour by mesdames at Bellevue Castle. The Queen sang with Madame la Rochellambert. Asked what he thought of the duet, he answered that Madame la Rochellambert made him find the evening charming and that Marie Antoinette sang very well for a queen. Related in the Memoirs of Louis, written by the Duke of 1832. In a concert given by the Queen Marie Antoinette, she sang with the Viscounts of la Rochellambert, who to a charming figure joined a delicious voice. His Majesty asked the court of Haga if he had been satisfied. Ah, madame, replied the prince, how could one not be when one hears Madame de la Rochellambert? In 1786, the tableau parlant by Grétry was performed at the Trianon Opera House, in which she played Columbine. The Queen was Isabelle and the Count of Artois was Leandre. Garrett sang Pierrot, recounted by Sophie Gay in Eleanor. In 1789, she played a proverb mixed with ariette entitled Le Déjeuner Attendu, a play written by the Duke of Nevers Louis-Jules Mancini Mazzarini. She survived the revolution, during which she was exiled to Switzerland. Back in France, she frequented the salon of Josephine de Beauharnais, Josephine de Beauharnais, 1760-1796, by Frederic Masson, 1899. A variety of rose, Rosa muscosa, is named after her, Madame de la Roche-Lambert. There you go. Well, that was a bit wordy, really. But in any case, quite a rare guitar here up for auction. Really interesting slight design. Looks a bit boatish, French, potentially royal heritage there to the Trianon, like I said, which I still think is an area located or around, or some buildings within the Palace of Versailles area. Please do let me know if that is kind of incorrect. From what I've observed here, it seems that this was a 4-course instrument originally, so it has 8 pegs, so it was 2 strings per note, but it's now been converted to 6. And in general, just really kind of an interesting instrument, and not something that you see every day. So I'll put a link in the description as always, and I recommend that people have a look at the pictures in more detail themselves. I've rambled on quite a lot in this video, but I definitely recommend looking at this instrument because it is really, really beautiful. Well, that's enough for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.